Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 287th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by 8bit.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me, as is tradition, my podcast ride or die. You can find her on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. Miss Ali Hart, how the bloody hell are you?
It has been a busy week.
It has been. There's a lot going on in both of our respective orbits this week on both sides of the globe. And yeah, we're here. We're going to be focusing wholly and solely this week on sort of news and updates and reveals tying to Summer Game Fest. We'll also be recapping and sharing our spoiler-free thoughts on The Quarry. Yeah. But my God, it has been a busy week. But you doing all right?
Yeah, just, sleeping when you can and living off caffeine and energy drinks and probably not having the best diet in the world. So you do what you can do when you get old. So
you are preaching to the choir there when it comes to abusing oneself by neglecting the necessary supplements you need from healthy living, which is something that I am still not really doing. But anyway, I digress.
What even is water?
What is water? I'm drinking water right now, so I'm better late than never. But yeah, it's been a big week so far. We've had Summer Game Fest. We've had obviously Netflix Geek Week doing the rounds. We had the Devolver Digital Showcase. So we're going to be focusing on those in the main news section of THG, and then we're also going to be then bringing you another episode of THG during the week where we're going to be recapping the other game showcases that are going to be dropping over that sort of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday period now. We've got two Xbox and Bethesda showcase. We've got a Capcom showcase. We've got the PC Gaming Show, Guerrilla Collective. So we're going to be grabbing all the best bits from all of that and giving you another episode midweek. But that would also then cancel out our usual episode drop that would be coming out the following Monday. So you're going to get 2 episodes in the span of, say, 4 days and then nothing for maybe 10 days.
Spread it out. Or put it on slow
cook?
Slow mode?
Slow
Make
mode?
us talk slower. So
yeah.
it
Chat.
takes
Is it
longer
chat
to
mode?
listen.
Streamer mode? Chat mode? What are they called on Twitch?
I don't know. We're sounding old. Every episode we say one thing that makes us sound old.
We sound very, very old. Should we talk about, should we end in what we've been up to here by diving onto The Quarry and then we can move into the usual parts? So maybe we'll talk on the other things first. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I know mine's going to be relatively quick. I guess it's also foreshadowing of what we're going to talk about this episode. But obviously, when these events happen, we're usually gifted a few demos available essentially after trailer or whatever. And there was one demo when I saw the trailer, I knew that I had to play it ASAP. And it's called Metal Hellsinger.
The second I saw this showcase yesterday in Game Fest, I thought of you straight away, and I wasn't going to say anything until today, but then I woke up this morning to you dropping an Instagram story of this exact game, this demo. Well, my work is done without even doing anything.
Yeah. I loaded up the demo and got some aggression out. It's really it is. It does feel like that game was made for me. It's a rhythm first person shooter, game with a full metal soundtrack, and it just has some amazing people from the metal scene in the music industry involved, and it's exactly what I expected, but even better. If for anyone that is a big fan of Doom and how Doom just has that chunky music and you're just killing things, it has that same similar vibe to it. And then anyone else that's maybe, if you've played Crypt of the Necrodancer, where you kind of have to hit things in beat to get multipliers in score, and then it is so perfect, and it's just good, like head banging. Like I as I was playing it, I found myself just like, like banging my head in time while I was like playing the game. It was good to keep in rhythm as well, but it was just, the music's really, really good. So, yeah, like it was like, I'm so glad they made a demo. I'm sure I probably didn't really need to be sold on it anyway, but having the demo out there on Steam was just, it worked out for me, and it's very much my thing. So I'm looking forward to when that one comes out.
And the recording artists that are on this soundtrack or part of this game, I don't know what the best way to describe it as. It's impressive. It's like, Matt Heafy from Trivium, Serge Tankian from System of a Down's on there, guys from Soilwork, and all like the who's who of prominent current heavy metal, like royalty, I guess you could say. Like there are some big names lending their vocal and musical talents to this game, and it looks a ton of fun, and the music is so crunchy, and combining that with like headshots and like gun blasts when you're shooting demons from hell, like people. It's just ugh.
Yeah, and like this, I also want to point out that there's this voiceover narration that's kind of telling you about the situation, the story of like what's happening in the game, and it's so good, like, because like it's not what I would have expected. Like I would have expected some, deep storytelling, but it's like I don't want to get it wrong, but to me it kind of like reminded me of a bit Southern.
Oh, nice.
Like, so like it was great, and so far I like that element to it as well. So overall, it's a really neat package for any metal lover, or I guess, like I said, anyone that's a fan of Doom that doesn't mind a little bit of rhythm.
It looks fun, and I don't know if I'll play the demo or at least wait till the full release, because I think it's coming out later this year, right? You said. I think it's back end of this year, making its way to Steam.
Yes, I think that's right. Let me just quickly double check before I say anything. Actually, I know I don't. Maybe we haven't got a date for that one.
Somewhere in the next 12 months, it'll be out.
Yeah, hopefully.
You'd imagine. I think that's a good broad brush.
The sooner the better, really. But as the years have gone on, I'm never gonna like have my fingers crossed on anything. So, but yeah.
But no, you recommend it so far from just that demo slice.
That demo, yeah, lots of fun, lots of fun.
Yeah, it looks super fun, and it's right up your alley. So I'm happy that it checks those boxes. Before we jump into the game we've both been collectively playing, I just wanted to touch on some stuff I've been watching. Surprise, surprise. I've been watching some anime, but first and foremost, I've peeked those first few episodes of The Boys Season 3. Oh my goodness gracious me, get that in your eyeballs as soon as you can. That's all I'm going to say. If you thought Season 1 and Season 2 got insane, this is like somehow elevated to the next level again. Like the opening scenes in Episode 1 of Season 3 is some of the most unique stuff I've seen in television ever. That's all I'm going to say. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it is a thing. Seeing one of the soups and the powers that they have and how that plays out in these opening scenes, by golly, it is memorable for probably all the wrong reasons, I guess you could say. As far as other things, I binge watched last Saturday night Saturday afternoon into Saturday night. I started watching this anime called Your Lie in April. It's a 22 episode anime available on Crunchyroll. Was done from a manga that ran in 2011 to 2015, and the really rough shot of it is it focuses on this 14-year-old piano prodigy named Kosai, and his mother passed away, but like ever since she passed away, he can't really hear or feel the music. Like his world is like monotone, like he's just numb to it. He's lost all his ability, and then he has this chance meeting with this violinist called Kaori, and sort of her now ambition is to try and play with Kosei and get him back to feeling normal and make him feel comfortable in front of the piano and just live life again. That's it in a very rough snapshot. I won't go into the broader tissue of the show, but this is one of I reflected on this for a few days after watching it, and this is one of the best things I've ever watched, regardless of anime, film, TV, anything like that. Like this thing hit me in ways that I was not prepared for. Like those 22 episodes, 8 hours or so, give or take, of a watch, and I did it in one hit. And out of those 22, I reckon I cried constantly for at least half of these. And by the end of it, my eyes were on fire because it was just, the stingy salt residue. And I was just a mess. And it was beautiful and heartfelt and funny and touching and all these things. And it's still sitting with me now. Like, I'll have a moment, like, throughout my day where I'll just think of it. And it just, like, makes me feel, like, sad or happy. And, like, it's resonating and like, still with me today. Today, I watched it a week ago now, but yeah, it hit me in ways I did not expect. It was beautiful, and my goodness gracious, is it a must see for anime fans in general. Good storytelling, I think. It's an anime that came out in 2015, 2016, I think. So it's been around for 5-6 years. It's been doing the rotation, but it's a single one shot, fully encapsulated story. You get a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion, all nicely wrapped up. I've since gone and bought the entire manga, 11 volumes, so I've got that. I'm probably going to read those through and just be as equally a blubbering mess, but it was just so beautiful and unexpected, and it just knocked me for six, Miss Hart. I was a happy yet very broken man by the end of it at like 1:30 in the morning on Sunday by the time this finished up.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Like, there's a lot of media out there, and we all react to things differently. But I always find that if the media makes you cry or it scares you, like, I think those two are very strong emotions. But yeah, I think if you can make a person feel like that kind of like overwhelming sadness or happiness to make them cry, I think you've done a pretty good job. So. Sadly, I won't be watching this because you told me it made you cry. I really try to stay away from anything that will make me sad.
That's fair. But it's a beautiful, beautiful story, and yeah, there's some funny moments, some nice awkward romantic moments that I think a lot of teenage usses could relate to, and then some real heartfelt, real life drama and things that happen within families, and losing family members and struggling with self-belief and things like that. And it was stunning. But shifting the tone, I'm just going to quickly bring this back just to get your quick temperature check on it as well, and ask Miss Hart, are you going to weeb or not to weeb on this one? So I'm going to read this synopsis here, and you can just tell me, are you in or you out? Your thumbs up or your thumbs down. Mm-hmm. Masamune Izumi is a high school student who writes light novels. Sagiri Izumi is a shut-in who never leaves her room. A year ago, she became Masamune's little sister, but one day, Masamune describes a shocking twist. The artist, Manga Sensei, who has been drawing illustrations for his novels, is none other than his little sister Sagiri. His cute little shut-in of a sister who has been living under his roof is using an obscene pen name and draws lewd illustrations. So, Miss Hart, are you in or are you out regarding Manga Sensei?
I don't know, because like I got really confused on who's who in the zoo with that one. But I like the idea of so the sister who's drawing the raunchy pictures, she's like a recluse. Yeah,
so it's a brother, and I guess like the his sister Sagiri is like they've adopted her. Yeah, so she's only been living under the house for a year under their roof. Masamune, he is writing light novels, and he's just been dealing online only with Manga Sensei is the pen name, who's drawing all the great art for his light novels. But then she's sort of a bit of an internet celebrity because she's drawing lewd and sort of pretty busty, thirsty illustrations. So she's really big in the space. But then there's this situation where he realizes that his little meek, quiet, introverted, recluse sister is the one drawing these. And then there's this sort of awkwardness and acceptance from both sides that they realize, oh, my brother's the light novelist and my sister is the smut drawer. How's this all going to work in the writing game? So are you in or are you out on Manga Sensei?
I guess I'm more in because you've got me curious. Like, I want to learn more about it. So I'll say that that's an in because I haven't completely dismissed it.
I'm in. I'm watching it through. It's actually only in a subbed version. So this is my re-entry into the subbed Japanese voiceover of an anime for the first time in a little while. So I've got to give it my full attention. I'm 5 episodes in. It's really funny. It's really quirky and kooky, and yeah, it's very interesting. What was the name? Iromanga Sensei is the show,
Iromanga Sensei.
the anime. Yeah, so it's only been out, I think, came out at the back end of this year / into early 2022. So it's a recent addition. It's on Crunchyroll, and yeah, it's dumb, fun, and it's pretty great, and much more lighthearted than Your Lie in April, which absolutely shattered me to pieces. But shifting gears now back to the gaming space, and thanks to those legends over at 2K via Supermassive Games, we've been provided some copies of The Quarry, which has released in an official capacity in the last 24 hours. So it's available worldwide on all platforms. So if you are itching to play some very great choose-your-own-adventure throwback horror, The Quarry is a game for you. So listeners, we will have a spoiler cast out in the next couple of weeks. We're just going to sort of marinate and work our way through the game itself, come back, share our thoughts. Sadly, the multiplayer version of the game is not available until July. There is the couch co-op option, so you could potentially play with someone locally under your roof, but we won't be able to play across the globe right now until July, so that will have to wait. But Miss Hart, what's your early feelings on The Quarry? You digging it?
Yeah, it really is like night and day from the previous titles, and I'm trying to figure out what it is about it that that's captivated me and really kept me interested, and that's really like standing out for me. And I think it's just the cast. I think the cast in this one is just doing an incredibly organic, interactions between each other. Like, there are cheesy moments, but every interaction between these characters, like, it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like out of place. It doesn't feel like jolting, and everyone's really giving it their all, and I'm just very impressed, and I'm very like captivated by the story, and even like already getting attached to like characters. So
it's been really, really enjoyable. Like, full disclosure, listeners, neither of us have finished just yet. I feel I'm right at the doorstep as far as the last chapter. I'm in chapter 8 at the moment, so I reckon I'll have this finished between now and tonight. But I think we've had enough time collectively between us to be able to shape a pretty good refined opinion as far as the gameplay. Like, the Loop, anyone that's played Until Dawn or any of the Dark Pictures anthology games knows the Loop. It's a pseudo walking sim with QuickTime events and butterfly effect situations where if you choose to go left, it's going to remember that later and potentially blow back in your face or help you out in other circumstances. So you've always got to be paying attention to what's on screen, because those QuickTime events, they come up regularly and they're, unscripted or untelegraphed. Like, I had one last night where I was midway through sipping my cup of tea. I had the controller in my left hand, my teacup in my right hand, and a QuickTime event came up, and luckily I managed to sort of position my chin on the joystick to sort of push it upwards to do the up QTE to avoid any drama. But it got the heart racing, like, because you've got to be fully immersed in this game. You can't be on your phone scrolling or watching something else out of the corner of your eye. You've got to be giving The Quarry your full attention. Otherwise, your campmates, they'd be dead. They'd be dead quick.
There's a lot of like great like nostalgia nods to the 80s horror, like just in general being set in a summer campsite. That's like one of the most cliche kind of like horror slasher kind of scenes. So being set in that environment feels pretty like organic and natural. But like there's other little elements that I like that like, as you mentioned, that when you make choices, it essentially sends you down a path, and how they kind of record these choices or for you to follow along your path. They have like the little video cassettes to show you like what's the path that you chose, and you can kind of fast forward through it. But they have like the classic like video cassette sleeves with the old 80s style kind of covers, and I just thought that was just brilliant. Just like, it's such a little detail, but like I really appreciated it. I loved that nod. So, but yeah, overall there are a lot of similarities to all the other previous games. So if you are if you are a returning player, you're not going to be too lost. But if you're a new player, I think they still do pretty well explaining things and what to expect and cause and effect and everything like that.
Totally agree. And on that sort of 80s reference, it sort of confused me for the first 10 minutes or so, I'd say, because, yeah, like the whole aesthetic and vibe, it's 80s slasher, 80s horror, but then it's set in present day. So, like, the game spins up and you're looking at, yeah, like an old computer from like the back end of the 80s and everything's grainy and VHS-y, and you sit there and go, okay, so we are in a bit of a time capsule here. And then it opens up with Max and Laura driving towards the camp, and there's a smartphone using that as a GPS. I'm like, hang on, where are we again? And then I sort of connected the dots. I'm like, okay, so we are sort of in 2022, but they've just sort of lent into this because this old summer camp hasn't really, I guess, been touched up since the 80s. So that's sort of where the nods and the references are. But the cast is great. The mocap work is phenomenal. I did notice a few times, like, it felt like almost a tale of two games as far as the mocap work goes. Like, from probably halfway through the game onwards, it looks stunning. Stunning.
Okay.
And it's weird to me because in the early chapters, especially like during the daytime where you've got a character sort of outside and they're, you know, having an exchange with another character, the way that the light rays are sort of bouncing through and sort of framing their hair silhouette, it's real like pixely
there's this little like weird, almost like a thick border around the character design that there's like a pixelated division between usually like a background kind of like blur and then the main character design, and there's this like weird border around them. It can be a little bit distracting especially if you're not really paying attention to the story or what's being said, but I definitely noticed that detail.
It really improves in the back half. Like, I don't know if maybe they need to patch those first chapters to make it a little bit prettier, but like it did feel like I went on, like, I'm not going to say PS4 to PS5, but it sort of felt that way where I noticed this visual difference halfway through the game. I went, holy shit, this is stunning, this is awesome, the character models are great, all that sort of weird texturing around the hair and things is gone. Even in a few of the early chapters, I noticed occasionally on a character or two, it wasn't the same one each time. Occasionally one of their eyelids was shut or open more than the other one. Did you notice that too?
Yeah, I had a scene at the start with one of the main one of the characters that they interacted with, and it's meant to be a bit of a serious like moment where you probably should be alert, but something happened where the character model was like winking permanently through the entire scene. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then there was another time where the person was having a conversation but their eyes were shut. Or maybe they were meant to be looking down. I have to say there's been a few funny scenes that I've had where one of the characters is shorter than the other characters and they're meant to be having a conversation, but her eyes are just staring at the character's boobs, like the entire conversation. And I just had to giggle because I'm like, I know that it's like there's something that's happened with like, you know, the mocap or whatever that's kind of done this, but it's just funny that they're having this conversation and she's just like staring at the other girl's like boobs just dead on, like no blinking or anything, just. And I thought that was kind of funny. And there are a lot of moments where I feel like someone's other eye is like wandering off in a weird way. So, but I feel like these are the things that I maybe kind of mentioned in the previous games. I also still find their teeth.
They're all perfect and they're all very shiny. They're very shiny teeth.
To me, they just stick out way too much, and it just like it always catches me off. But apart from that, like I still like a lot of the character designs and all the models that they've used, and you know, incorporating the likeness of the actual voice actors. So
yeah, they nail the likenesses, and it's great. There's a lot of representation in the game. There's a lot of diverse backgrounds there, and then sort of drilling deeper to those 80s horrors of yesteryears. They've got every type of trope and stereotype. They've got the jock, the pretty girl, the nerdy one, the introverted one. You know, they check all the boxes. They've gone through, you know, storytelling 101 from horror movies of yesteryear and went, okay, we need this. and then put a current sort of wrapper on it and do some things a little bit differently. But the story is really cool. I'm liking where it's going and how it's playing out so far. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything because this is a game you need to experience yourself, because we are all going to get different stories and different outcomes. The only thing I'll say relating to my story so far is not one. I've managed to keep all my counselors alive at time of recording, so I'm pretty deep in the game, and I've managed to keep them alive. There was a few times where I'm like, if I mishit that button or took the shortcut as opposed to the path, I know that I would have been cooked. But I've managed to keep them all alive, and that I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty good. I want to get them all out of this camp as unscathed as possible with all the necessary evidence you need to collect, because there's one thing I'll mention as far as the collectibles in this game. There is plenty, as Ms. Hart alluded to, but one of the things that you want to be paying particular attention to is I think there's 12 or 11 pieces of evidence. So no doubt by the end of this game, you're going to have a situation where however many of you might survive, or if they all are dead, I guess the evidence doesn't mean anything. But if you survive, you need to probably present that evidence to the police to say, this is what's happened. I'm not responsible here. Went down, and here's why. So just be mindful to grab everything you can during your playtime, because it all serves a purpose.
Damn it. It's like the one thing that I can't do about these games is that I am a stickler for making sure I've checked every nook and cranny and picked up every little thing. So that's going to get me. I'm going to have a slower playthrough because I'm going to be just so freaking picky and detail oriented.
And it's a slow game in general. Like you can walk or you can briskly walk. And if you come near, like if you have to go up steps, you can only go one speed up the steps.
Briskly walk?
Yeah. If you hold in L1, you can sort of walk a bit faster. So make sure you hold that L1 when you can, because when you are looking around for these things, and because the map itself is very big, like the areas are huge, and if you're looking for certain items or just trying to scan areas, just be holding that L1 in just so you can get there that little bit quicker. That's my recommendation.
I've been slowly walking.
Just seeing the sights. But the universe in general, though, like especially during the day, like you were talking about a scene you're in where you're walking out getting some firewood, seeing the light rays coming through with the ray tracing and stuff in these woodland areas, it's stunning.
Yeah, like that particular scene is really pretty. There's a lot of scenes where they're just like looking, just looking at the scenery and the mountains and the lake and everything, and it's pretty impressive, like how pretty it is. Like there's moments where I'm like, man, that looks nice. I could hang out there, and then obviously not, but yeah.
I'll say one other negative thing, especially on the scenery. It has got some of the worst water effects / animations I've seen in a long time. Wait until you see some scenes where, someone, something, whatever is in the water, and you see the water splashes. It is, it's bad. It's bad.
Oh, now I'm really going to pay attention to it.
You can't miss this. You can't miss this. But overall, this is definitely 8-bit approved from my perspective. Yeah. I am loving this game. Like, yeah, it's got a few warts on its exterior, but at its core, it's a stunning game. Until Dawn's one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not ready to anoint this as the Until Dawn killer at the moment. Okay. See what happens when the game's all said and done, but it's really, really good. It's definitely stronger than all the Dark Pictures anthology games so far.
Yeah. It's hard to say, but yeah, it's true. And
the soundtrack's pretty thumping too. They weave in music here and there in certain scenes, and there's some bangers.
So far, I haven't really been too impressed with it. Like, the Hallowed Death one at the start of Until Dawn was a bit rough, but I kind of associate it with it now. But the one that this game started with was rough.
It gets better. So, there's some good tracks. They weave them in nice pivotal and key moments of the game, and it's really great. I love this game, and I'm excited. Like, I don't usually replay games. I'm usually a one and done type of guy, but a game like this that is meant to be replayed to see these other outcomes, I'll be jumping back
kill
in.
Them all now.
Yeah, because there's some characters, like, as is those tropes, there is some characters you'll mesh with and other ones that you will hate. So it's like, do I just do what I can to kill this person? Or do I try and give them like a nice redemption story arc where I just pick the nice discussion exchange instead of the aggressive and the dickish behavior ones. Like, which way do I go? Do I try and reform all these people or just kill them all?
Yeah.
It's so good, though. Check out The Quarry. Available everywhere. Sadly, no crossplay. So just be mindful if you are looking to play the multiplayer with friends next month when it releases. It's going to have to be platform to platform. So we're on PlayStation 5. We can't play with people on Xbox and vice versa, or PC. So you're just going to be stuck in that ecosystem, but it's really, really good. Couch co-op available right now. There's the movie mode in it too. So if you don't want to really experience the game from a playing and stress standpoint, but you want to sort of watch the game, you can click the movie mode in there and it'll sort of just play out the scenes and the moments just in front of you so you can watch it, because there is big extended talking points where it feels like you are watching a TV show or a movie.
Yeah, and I think, and I like, sometimes I think with the previous titles, like that's why I actually wanted to point out how well the acting was in previous games. They were like this particular, like the anthology specifically. Like I just felt like a lot of the interactions was really, rough. And I think that's what they've done really well with this one. Yeah,
totally agree. But we'll have a spoiler cast coming out in the coming weeks, diving deeper on our experiences and discoveries with The Quarry. But for now, we can confidently say that this is an 8-bit approved title. It's available on every platform. So if you're looking to jump into a great horror game / horror film, I guess you could say in a way, this is well worth your time and financial investment. So The Quarry by Supermassive Games, published by 2K, officially 8-bit approved. Let's jump into a quick bit of housekeeping before we start unpacking these massive showcases and events this past week. So obviously, ko-fi.com/weare8bit. If you wanted to support us monetarily, you can do so over there from the low price of $1 per month to get you exclusive access to perks, giveaways, and a whole host of other swagger. Speaking of swagger, if you wanted to get some 8-bit merchandise, shop8bit.net is the place to go to get tees, hats, hoodies, and everything else in between. And we'd just also like to announce our winner of our first ATH GL3 gaming headset giveaway, courtesy of those legends over at Audio Technica. Go check out their sexy new website right now. Get yourself a new headset, new headphones, microphones, turntable, you name it, they've got it. You want it, go get it. But shout out to @InBennoWeTrust over there on the Instagrams for winning that ATH GL3 gaming headset. Do we say we've got another giveaway running right now, or do we maybe wait a week and let it marinate a bit, Ms. Hart? What do we do?
Let's let it marinate. Let's kind of hit the reset button. It's a crazy week for everyone to keep on top of things anyway, so let's wait a week.
That's it. All right. So, we will announce when the next giveaway will be live. We'll be giving away another ATHGL Gaming 3 headset, as well as maybe some 8-bit merch. Maybe we'll chuck an 8-bit t-shirt in there, or a hat or a hoodie, something like that as well. So we'll pad that little snack pack out. But let's jump into the main meat and potatoes of episode 287.
This week's news headlines.
And I just wanted to start things off with the super quick Netflix Geeked Week gaming recap. So we're not going to be talking about the previous days, highlighting just broader Netflix stuff and going into Stranger Things and other TV content. We're just going to be focusing on the gaming-centric stuff. So I'll give you just the main hit points here, Miss Hart. So we got a Castlevania Nocturne debut trailer showcasing Richter Belmont. No exact date for when that's going to be airing was made available, but nice little teaser there to keep those Castlevania fans hyped. Dragon Age Absolution is making its way to Netflix this coming December. We've got a Sonic Prime trailer, and it also confirmed that Big the Cat and Froggy will be appearing in the series as well. So a couple of stalwarts from that Sonic universe that characters and players alike adore. We also had confirmation that Cuphead is getting a second season, and it is actually arriving in August on the 19th, so we don't have to wait long at all for season 2 of Cuphead. And lastly, multiple Netflix TV series are getting tie-in games. So Shadow and Bone's Destinies is a single-player RPG. The Queen's Gambit, chess, is obviously a chess game. La Casa de Papel follows a spin-off story from Money Heist. And Too Hot to Handle lets players experience the dating show drama for themselves. And on the back end of that, we also heard more about Netflix and Devolver Digital partnering up, where we've got Reigns, Three Kingdoms, Terra Nil, and Point P making its way to the Netflix library of games that are available for free for all Netflix subscribers. So some good positive updates and new announcements. Cuphead Season 2 That's cool. I still haven't watched much of Cuphead Season 1. I think I've watched the first 2 episodes. I need to go back to that.
Same.
I'm excited for more Castlevania. I'm excited to see what they do with Dragon Age. And I guess I'm interested to see how a Shadow and Bone game's going to work out, because I enjoyed the Shadow and Bone series. I thought that was a good sort of fantasy magic-based show.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I really, really wish now, knowing that they did make a Queen's Gambit show, I really wish that they kind of did like some weird twist where it's like, but it's an RPG, or else it's it's a first-person shooter, or it's a builder. But yeah, it's just a chess game, which I guess makes more sense. But
it would kind of be cool if you could walk around or travel the globe and beat people at chess, or have to beat them in certain ways, or you could upgrade your board somehow. I don't know. Yeah, like add more wrinkles to it than just chess.
Yeah, why would you make a stupid chess game out of a chess movie? But yeah, like Netflix's Geek Week is pretty thorough. It's full of stuff. It's always impressive to kind of see like everything that they churn out. I just think that the biggest thing was Netflix slowly showing their collar in the games side of things. So yeah, very interesting to see how that evolves over the coming months.
They did announce a few other games that are going to be dropping exclusively or releasing through their gaming arm of Netflix as well. But there's so much out there. We might drop a link into the overall recap. IGN's got a great one of all 5 days, so I might just drop that in there. And you can have a look and see all the announcements regarding new things from movies and TV and games and the like. And yeah, because there's tons of links to, what's happening with Stranger Things and a whole host of those other sort of Netflix stalwart shows that people are super horny for. If we jump across and shift gears to Miss Hart's probably favourite developer / publisher out there, and we're talking about Devolver Digital, obviously. So recapping the showcase, from a games perspective, they highlighted 5 games in particular, but they also weaved in a lot of that Devolver beautiful insanity and curiousness and quirkiness and just madness that Devolver have been known for many a year now. But as from the game side, Cult of the Lamb got a bit of love. Angerfoot, Card Shark, The Plucky Squire, and Skate Story were the 5 games that they highlighted there. Where do we want to start with these 5 games, Miss Hart?
I mean, Cult of the Lamb, it just looks so damn adorable in its, dark way. So I'm definitely interested in that one. The style of it too is very, very cute. I like how the art style is reminiscent of Don't Starve Together.
Yeah, reminded me of that. And remember Castle Crashers? Do you remember that game from back in the day?
Oh, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cute art style. Yeah, you're playing a possessed lamb who must start a cult in order to pay back the strange spirit who saved his life. So the cool thing with Cult of the Lamb, it's coming to PC and consoles on August the 11th, so you don't have to wait too long to join this sheep-based cult here. But equal parts creepy and cute. It looks really fun. I like that there is a bit of darkness wrapped in amongst the cutesiness and the just casualness of the aesthetic. Like, it does look interesting and fun and enjoyable. Like, a kid could play it, but then there's also
they really shouldn't. Yeah,
this bloody cult-based undertone going on with demons and possessions.
Yeah, no. So
but no,
definitely for me though.
Definitely. The other one there that was of interest, and you said you watched a bit of actual gameplay slice of it today, was Angerfoot. Which is set in the caffeine-fueled fever dream of a place called Shit City.
Oh yeah, we know that place. Yeah.
I think I lived there for a while.
I know. I think I've lived there too.
So what did you think? You said you watched the Kind of Funny Guys stream this morning?
Yeah, because I wanted to see if it was just like, how sometimes there's those games that kind of come out that are gimmicky. And like no substance, but there's like this wonderful like wacky element of Angerfoot that just looks like you would just progressively just keep churning it out and keep playing it. The art style's unique. Something I'm really drawn to it. I'm usually not so attached to like really out there kind of like artsy style when it comes to games, but there was something actually that it really appealed to me with this one, and just the overall absurdity of it, like literally just like going around and you only can use, like, your character only uses its feet, and like it's wacky. I'm definitely keeping this one on my radar.
It looks really cool. Like, the art style reminded me a bit of like the No More Heroes IP. Had a little bit of that to it, where it's sort of a bit cartoony, but like real thick outlines on the characters, and ripped straight from a graphic novel or a comic strip. And I like the simplicity of the game, where you are just literally kicking down doors and kicking people's asses. And I like that there's a ton of shoes that you obtain, which gives you unique abilities and skills, so you can kick and kill people in a whole host of creative ways. It's making its way at this stage, I think, to PC only. Don't know if they've confirmed that it's coming to console yet, but it'll be out next year in 2023. But it looks fun, and certainly something that I think is on both our respective radars.
Yeah, definitely.
We obviously got some more showcase on Card Shark, which is available right now on PC and Nintendo Switch. It's interesting. I watched I'm Fall from Grace stream a bit of this during the week on Twitch, and it's piqued my interest. Will I give it a go straight away? No, but I like the thought of lying and playing cards and everything else in between to try and uncover these murder mysteries. So we'll see. We'll see. The Plucky Squire, though, it might be one of the best games I think I've seen showcased in the last few days with these events. Like, it is stunning, and it's an animated adventure game where you are playing the role of Jot, who is this young squire, and he's been kicked out of his own storybook. And it then becomes multi-dimensional, where the game starts and it's a nice cutesy 2D platformer, and he's just jumping along, if easy comp, you think of Wonder Boy and stuff like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he gets kicked out of the book into like our world, and it's all 3D. And so it goes from this 2D plane to this 3D world, and it looked absolutely stunning. And I'll take some wording here you writ down, and you said, looks like it's something out of a Pixar movie, and damn straight it does. And man, it looks good. Yeah.
I'm very impressed when like we have like these like games that really pop out, and it's like the first that we hear of it, which I guess it should be the way, especially during Games Fest. But like this one was really impressive, so I was kind of impressed that this is the first we're hearing of it, and this is the first like kind of snippet that we're seeing. So
yeah, and the cool thing is it's done by a studio based here in Australia, up there in Queensland, called All Possible Futures. So nice. That's nice to know, but it looks good, and it's already getting a lot of internet traction. Like, you're seeing a lot of big streamers and content creators and news outlets pushing and promoting this one. So it sounds like another Aussie studio could potentially be in line to, get a lot of positive press and potentially win some awards when this game drops in 2023, and it's making its way to every platform, which is awesome. And then the other game they showcase there is Skate Story. What do you think of this one, where you play as a demon made of glass, skating through a beautiful yet ruthlessly oppressive underworld?
Yeah, maybe. Like it looked cool, but I wouldn't necessarily say this one is high on my list.
Yeah, it's you read the game description itself, and it's like, this is definitely Devolver. So you managed to convince the devil to strike a deal with yourself. If you can skate to the moon and swallow it, he'll allow you to leave hell scot-free. So cool, you're skating your way to the moon to try and eat it to be able to get let out of hell. Yeah, it wasn't one that sort of was a must-play for me, especially because like skate fatigue, is that a thing right now? We've got a lot of skateboard games that have come out the last 12 months. Ollie Ollie World and Skater XL, and the Tony Hawk remasters, which were great. And then we've still got Skatebird, which was a bit of a misstep there, and a few other ones. Like, for all the skaters out there, awesome. But as far as the games that were showcased there, five good titles, 5 very diverse titles. What did you think of the other events surrounding their event, as they typically do?
I don't want to say, but this one was very lackluster. I feel bad because I always look forward to the Devolver Digital Showcase and the theatrics and the wonderful like performances that they put in between and all the like, you know, call outs to the gaming industry that they, you know, kind of put in the you know, the story, I guess, of their presentation and everything. But I don't know, like this time around, like it felt maybe a little mellow. I don't know how to say that about a Devolver Digital presentation, but I guess out of all of them, like this one just seemed a little bit toned down.
Yeah,
I might be wrong. Maybe I'm
with you. It didn't hit with the same impact that the ones in years past have done. Like the games, I think the assortment of games they had was strong, but I also think for a few of the other events, they've showcased a lot more titles. Feels like they've had more usually.
I think you're right, actually. I think it definitely... I was kind of shocked to see that it was the overall presentation was only 25 minutes. And then obviously, like we mentioned, like a good chunk of it's just the theatrics and the presentation. But yeah, like I think you're right. This does feel like less titles this year. I
think we're still feeling, and we will continue to feel, the impact of COVID. Like we even saw in Summer Game Fest where Jeff Keighley like read out a press release or a release from a studio saying, you know, we wanted to showcase a game, but we hadn't, you know. So there's this situation still impacting the design and creation and release dates and showcases of gaming, and it's going to continue into the future, which is a shame, but that's just the impact of COVID and just that continued ripple effect that's gonna sort of play out over the coming years. But overall, yeah, the Devolver Showcase is pretty good. There was a few games there that like are definitely on my list as far as must plays, in Cult of the Lamb, The Plucky Squire, and Angerfoot. Like I don't think Angerfoot would be a long play for me, but I just want to experience it myself and just be, you know, kicking heads in, running around Shit City, and you know, living my best life. But if we jump across to, I guess you could say now the official, probably biggest showcase in the calendar year, would you say? Like, I'm not saying this one was.
As your voice gets higher,
yeah.
It's definitely one of the, like, you know, the mountains of gaming events. This is definitely up there as being one of the pinnacles. But yeah, I guess we'll get into more about it. Why I'm so hesitant to kind of agree with you.
Yeah, so Jeff Keighley's back again for another year with Summer Game Fest. We got over 24 or so games showcased, and then a few other personality appearances and things like that as well. But the overall vibe, I think we could probably just like put that at the end as far as our final thoughts on what we thought Summer Game Fest was. But if we just do the quick play-by-play, I'll read through the titles in order that they were showcased in the event, and then we can just jump in and unpack ones where I think they're relevant. So we got some more information on Street Fighter 6, where we saw the return of classic character Guile, with his very stupid hair, but it's still there, and that's his thing. And he somehow got bigger. His arms. A little bit of a beard, but his arms are ginormous, as is Street Fighter tradition these days. I guess him and Ryu are just getting wider and wider.
Yeah, but my husband pointed out that Guile almost has like a hump. Like, that's how beefcake he is. He's just getting lumps where they shouldn't be, maybe?
I guess because he's got to get down low all the time to get ready for his flash kick. So he's always hunched over, ready for that kick. Maybe it's just sort of done some bad things to his spine, but we're going to get more. We're going to talk about Street Fighter 6 more, no doubt, this week, because there is a Capcom specific showcase this week coming. The next game that they announced, this was a debut trailer for Aliens Dark Descent. So it's a squad-based isometric shooter coming in 2023. Apparently it's single player only. The trailer didn't I think between ourselves, we're two of the biggest Alien fans that I know, and Predator. Yeah. That whole broader universe. Also, shout out, go check out the Prey trailer for the new Predator movie. That looks so fucking good.
Everyone that shits on Alien vs Predator, let's see what this movie's taking a fucking page from. Anyway, continue.
But yeah, go check out that trailer. Obviously, straight to Hulu or straight to whatever Aussie streamer here on August the 5th. But that trailer looks really good, and I'm excited for that. But I'm not very excited for Aliens Dark Descent. This game looks fine. Aesthetically, it didn't wow me as far as the trailer and then the gameplay that they weaved into it as well. Like, it's almost like, yeah, squad-based Alien Diablo mess that I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to play this, and that makes me sad when I'm an Aliens fan.
Yeah, it just seems like, especially with the Aliens franchise, it's just a missed opportunity where I just don't think it looked good, and the character models of the soldiers and Marines or whatever, the term I used was Fortnite-y, where they're not extremely detailed in looking like lifelike. They've just got enough characteristics to kind of like have that familiarity, but like overall, like I guess as we move on with these games and stuff, especially if it is only a single player game, I would want something more prettier. I want, details. I want the details of spaceships and my character model and all that sort of stuff. I liked how the trailer ended. I thought that was cool, but like apart from that, I am not sold on this title at all.
Totally agree. Like Aliens Colonial Marines that came out a few years ago, which was a shit game, it still looked stunning. The gameplay was crap, but it looked great, where this sort of is like an inverse almost, where
I couldn't help but think of like back. Alien Isolation.
Oh, yes.
So I think that's what I was kind of just, like referencing, and why I wasn't so impressed with it, I guess.
Yeah, and for those that still are yet to play Alien Isolation, it is obviously part of Xbox Game Pass, but it's also on sale, I think, on a few of the other platforms at the moment for like maybe $10 to $15. So if you're a PC player only or a PlayStation player only, please play it. It is still the best Alien game to date. And yeah, Aliens Dark Descent just was not a big needle mover. The one that continues to move the needle for me, though, is the next game that they showcased, the Callisto Protocol. So we got a more gore-laden trailer that was debuted the other day. And then we also got a gameplay slice as well. And obviously this game's coming out on December the 2nd on PC and also Xbox and PlayStation. And I'm in. I'm so in on this. How about you?
I've never had a game change my mind so damn quickly, like almost like just straight up telling me to my face, like, you're a fucking idiot. Because like I went from like I don't care about this stupid title, and then I saw bits and pieces. I'm like, okay, it looks all right. And then this trailer and gameplay, I'm like, holy shit, this looks amazing. Oh my god, this is so damn gory. Like, I'm completely sold on this one now. This looks just absolutely incredible. And I also want to give a little shout out to the interview afterwards.
With Mr. Schofield.
Yeah, mobster. That was the vibe I was getting from him. But I just wanted to like say how good it was for not only him to kind of acknowledge Jeff Keighley and the work that he's done for game studios and everything like that, but he also kind of took a moment to thank his staff and everything, because it was mentioned that everyone's extremely impressed that they're still on schedule to get this title out at the end of this year in December. Especially because everyone has been dealing with COVID issues and such. So it looks incredible.
It looks stunning. And the way the gameplay slice ended with the character getting spun up into that, what would you say?
A fan or
turbine?
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like there is going to be some hectic deaths and maulings and dismemberings going on come December the 2nd. And yeah, this game, like, it's only been in existence, like, publicly for about 2 years. So going from an announcement where they're like, it's set in the PUBG universe, like what you said, where you're like, science fiction, horror, yeah, cool, whatever, but PUBG, what the fuck? To now going like, I need this day one. It's a testament to everyone involved, and I am very excited for this game. Jumping from there, we got a look at a full level from the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's campaign. So they showcased Dark Water, where you're infiltrating a stormy oil rig in the middle of the ocean. Game's coming out on 27th of October. It's pretty, if you've played a Call of Duty game, you'll know what to expect. It looks cool. It's going to be tight. The cinematic experience that you get from that story mode in those Call of Duty games is always phenomenal. So I'm keen to replay / I guess see where they've taken the story, because obviously they've remade the game but also added new characters and new levels. So it's going to be familiar yet new, and it looked good. Like, it's more Call of Duty. I'm not sad about it.
No, I was actually really impressed with what we saw in the gameplay, like the details in like almost like the reflective surfaces, because in this campaign that we saw, it's like you've got water, you've got rain coming down, so, and then you've obviously got all the oh crap, what are they called? Not crates, they're called containers, shipping containers.
Oh, yep.
So, you know, everything from like reflective surfaces due to the rain, and even like textures due to the containers and just metalworks and stuff. I was actually really, really impressed with it, because it was game, like it was game footage, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was. That was all in game, in engine, and it looks stunning. And yeah, obviously this game is going to sell absolute bucket loads come 27th of August, and it's just going to do what Call of Duty does every year. Just be a top seller, be reviewed really well, reinvigorate the multiplayer community, and so on and so forth. Then we got a trailer after that for Witchfire. It looked interesting, kinda.
Yeah, I read Medieval Doom.
Yeah, and at the end, like, it's clear you're playing like some type of witch hunter, and you're sort of saying a prayer just before you're about to almost like cleanse a demonic site, and then some big beastie comes through at you. And I'm like, yeah, okay, looks interesting. Not really on the high radar from there. The next game from there that got a bit of love, and also had a talking spot where they did a bit of question and answer / interview with Roger Clark and Troy Baker, who were part of this game with Jeff Keighley on their stage afterwards. Was a game called Fort Solis. So it's a sci-fi thriller set on a Mars mining outpost. The trailer itself didn't give a ton away. I think the weight you get from the back end of this was just seeing Roger Clark, who's back after Red Dead Redemption 2, and Troy Baker, who's obviously one of the Mount Rushmores as far as voice and mocap for video gaming goes. And yeah, it's interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, like you said, we didn't get too much. I think they were just more banking on the fact on who they had on their voice cast. So I guess we'll be hearing more and more about it later on.
Exactly. It's just nice to see him, like Troy Baker here, getting involved in investing in games instead of NFT.
There we go.
Voice bites and things like that. So yeah. So this next game, this was one of the ones that stood out for me in all of Game Fest as well, and it was Routine. So it's a game that was announced over a decade ago, and it just went radio silent for nearly over 10 years. And the trailer, it's got that 80s VHS horror-y vibe in space again. So it's a space station that is haunted by big chittering robots is sort of the vibe that we've got sort of penned here. The other part that I think is going to be cool, but we don't really get any of it in the demo or the trailer itself, is Mick Gordon is providing the score, obviously from Doom fame. But first person space robot-y horror, real eerie and real creepy. The world itself looks stunning, but it feels like going back to when you mentioned Alien Isolation, it's like that, where you're going to be very slowly walking through, trying not to alert anything, and hiding and running as much as possible, I'd imagine.
Yeah, stealth horror. It did look really impressive. I'm going to admit, though, once this one kind of came up, I was starting to get exhausted, thinking that I was kind of starting to see the same kind of stuff.
It's true. It's true. A lot of space horror.
Yeah.
A lot of space.
A lot of space. Space is scary is what I actually wrote in my notes for this event.
It's true. It's the unknown. Something that was scary in the way that it was just got given so much focus and gave us so little was directly after this Routine re-announcement is we got The Rock doing as I think you described it perfectly before we started recording it. It felt like Summer Game Fest found The Rock on Cameo, paid whatever exuberant fee it was, and said, hey, this is what we want you to talk about. And He's filmed this from his weight room at his house, and he's waffling on and plugging his energy drink as much as he can and bullshitting about this and saying all these catchphrases. And then he's like, oh, and here's a shortened version of the Black Adam trailer that came out a couple of days ago, latest.
Yeah. It was rough because I'm pretty certain in the end, like before the lead into him talking, there was like a mention of Fortnite. I was like, oh, that's right. And I was kind of expecting him to talk about something game related, but not really. Just like you said, he was just plugging his energy drink and his new movie and how amazing he is. Still glistening of sweat from, him interrupting his gym set just to quickly pull out his mobile phone and record it. It was a little sad considering the hype of like, we've got The Rock. And it's like, you were a FaceTime between sets. Like that's what that was, sadly. And yeah, and just showing us something that we kind of already saw.
Yeah. And it wasn't even the full trailer again. It was cut in half. Like I thought for sure when he popped up, and then, as you said, he mentioned Fortnite. I'm like, oh, nice. He's going to announce a new skin or something. Or then I thought, okay, maybe he's going to announce the trailer or something to do with the It Takes Two movie. Yeah, maybe. But nah, Black Adam. I'm everything that Superman's not. I got all these powers and I kill dudes. Yeah. Now I'm going to go do some more bicep curls. So yeah, that was the big celebrity cameo moment of Summer Game Fest. Jumping back into it, we got Flashback 2. Set 30 years after the original game. Obviously, Flashback was a side-scroll action platformer from many moons ago. And we sort of got to see what's happening with Flashback 2. It's been in development since May of last year. They haven't really confirmed when it's coming out. I'm assuming maybe 2023. But I didn't play the first. I know of Flashback, but as not being a PC gamer or having a PC when I was young, I completely missed this game.
I've never played this one either. Like, I was familiar with it, but I've never played it. I'm also going to quickly go behind the curtain. I am the person that put this in order, and I just realized now by my notes, this one's in the wrong order. So anyone that's keeping tabs, I caught myself. This is in wrong order.
It's all good. That's all good.
But when this initially started, the trailer, and they were talking about, we're bringing back a game from and the way that the design, for a split second, I'm like, are we getting another world?
That's what I thought too. And I'm like, Ellie's going to be so happy. And then I'm like,
it was a very quick roller coaster of emotion. So, but I'm hoping that, because I'm sure I'm not the only one, like you said it too. So hopefully someone kind of just threw that into the universe and maybe we'll get another one.
Fingers crossed. As is tradition, what's old will be new again. So it's inevitable.
That's the way we're going, yeah.
Then we got a trailer from Frost Giant showcasing Stormgate, which is an upcoming real-time strategy game set in a post-apocalyptic future. Beta testing is coming in 2023. They had one of the studio staff up there talking about it in very broad, ambiguous terms with Jeff Keighley for a second as well. Not a massive needle mover for me, but people that love those RTSs, it looks like it's going to be more of the same as far as what you're familiar with, and the fact that there's ex-Blizzard staff tying into this. It means this game's going to hopefully come out with a bit of polish.
I wasn't paying attention about the whole ex-Blizzard staff thing, but in my notes I said, what in the StarCraft bullshit is this? And then they're like, and then they said, Blizzard employees. I'm like, this one rubbed me the wrong way. Like, there was elements where they were like, like they were trying to look graphically amazing, and then there was moments where everything just looked like Play-Doh. It was weird. And the fighting sequence of a mech punching the demon, it looked like he nudged just going, yes, your little just
a little kiss on the cheek.
Exactly. So I don't know, this one kind of made me feel like, ooh.
There was a few, a lot of these games we're going to be talking about in this next little salvo is ones that didn't hit. For the most part, I'm not going to disparage these studios and what they're working on. It's awesome that people are making their dreams become reality and building things they're so passionate about. But a lot of these games, at least for me, just didn't resonate the way I was hoping. But hopefully a lot of people out there that watch Game Fest is feeling very different right now and saying, Brendan, you're a dickhead. And that's fine if you say that, because I'll take it. The next one, High Water. got a trailer. It's an upcoming action-adventure game that aims to let players explore a world ravaged by the effects of climate change. Anything on that one?
No, I said it looked pretty, but it didn't really do much for me. I said it looks nice.
Yeah, the next one I think is going to be another quick mention and then move on. And we got confirmation that Coffee Stain Studios is following up their viral hit Goat Simulator with not Goat Simulator 2, but Goat Simulator 3. And that's what confused me too. Like when it got announced, I'm like, wait, when did they do a second one? And then I realized it's like, nah, they've just jumped from 1 to 3.
I like that. I thought that was like also doing like the quick kind of like you thought it was going to be the zombie game, like because Jeff Keighley said take a bite, and everyone was like, what? And then it was I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was what, Dead Rising or
Is it called Dead Rising?
What's
yeah, like the zombie one that they did.
I'm blanking on the name of it.
Yeah, I'm blanking on it too. But like, I mean, Goat Simulator's like ton of fun. That actually recently jumped on Apple Arcade for anyone that cares. But yeah, we're not doing 2. We're going right to 3.
Straight to 3. You want to play number 1 beforehand? It's on Game Pass as well. I was scrolling the store the other day, and it's included in that Game Pass bundle. We also then just got after Goat Simulator 3, we got a new cinematic trailer revealing a new hero that will be an unlockable character for your team's roster in Marvel's Midnight Suns. We're talking about none other than Spider-Man, and to make it even cooler, he's going to be voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who voiced him in the Spider-Man game. So that's kind of cool.
I think they've kind of mentioned it's not the same character, but it's still Yuri doing Spider-Man's voice.
Yeah, different Spider-Man, so not tied into the PlayStation or the Sony video game Spider-Man universe. But Yuri's come back to lend his vocal talents to that one. And the game is going to be coming out on October the 7th of 2022. So a couple of months down the line, we'll be able to experience Spider-Man working with Ghost Rider, working in with Wolverine, working with whoever else. Blade. Yeah. And like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm not a big strategy player, but I want to at least try it out.
Yeah, this doesn't shake the pulse for me. My husband's going to play it. Apparently, he's very excited for this one, so maybe I'll live through his experience.
I do like the Midnight Suns sort of comics and things like that, and focusing on sort of different groups of the Marvel universe. So that's probably the biggest incentive for me to play this, is just to see where they go with the story there. Then we got some Cuphead. So the Delicious Last Course is nearly here. It's coming out, what is it now? It's the 11th of June as we record this right now. So in 19 days' time, the Delicious Last Course, which is the DLC, which is also, from what they were saying in the sort of Q&A on the back of this is the largest island that they've made to date in the Cuphead universe, and some of the bosses are the biggest that they've seen in the game as well.
I enjoyed the snippet that they showed of Miss Chalice doing her thing and showing her special move and everything like that. So it's good to see that they're probably going to get like a second wind resurgence of fans and everything. So
it's just the art style is just so unique and distinctive. Like the second you see it, it's like, am I watching a cartoon from the 50s here? Like, it is so well done. Like, Shooter MDHR are just so good. And I'm keen to give this a spin and jump in June 30 and get punished repeatedly and realize I'm not a very good gamer. The next one, Neon White. It's a stylish card-based shooter/platformer. And the cool thing is it was announced here at Summer Game Fest, and it's actually out in 5 days' time from recording. So you'll be able to purchase this game from June 16th. So the game itself didn't really work for me as far as the trailer.
Stylized wise, there was things that like I was like, oh, that looks cool. I like that. But overall, I don't see me like clamoring to play it. Like this would probably definitely one of those things that if I ever saw it on Game Pass, I might try it.
Yeah, that's a fair call. It definitely it looked like a Nintendo Switch game to me. And that's not being disrespectful to Nintendo and the games that exist on that platform. But yeah, like shooting with card-based, there is some like the characters that they are in an anime style, and there is some interaction and some back and forth between the characters. So if you can sort of have some RPG elements attached to it, maybe, but it's certainly not a day one pickup for me, that's for sure. After that, we got an announcement regarding Warframe. So they've confirmed the Deviri Paradox expansion is on its way. And then they also had a broader bit of information where if you're watching right now or you're doing certain things, you can now get this other Warframe skin or suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bit awkward, that one. I'm just going to put it out there.
It was a little bit awkward. And like you mentioned at the start regarding when Schofield was up there talking about the Callisto Protocol, he set the precedent as far as praising Jeff Keighley, and it went from there. Every person that was on that stage was like, Jeff, you're the best. Thank you so much. Don't get me started about his terrible suit and shoe combination. That was a choice.
I liked his shoes. Everyone said crap about his shoes, and I liked his like shiny, reflective black sneakers.
I think it's because either the jacket or the shoes, they need to be the same level of shininess. You can't have one outshining the other. It's either you go a muted black blazer and the shiny shoes, but because he had this shiny blazer that was then like dim compared to the shiny shoes, it just rubbed me the wrong way. Am I a fashionista? No, but apparently I'm today. But it just didn't hit for me. But the next one, it raised an eyebrow for me at the very least. So we got Honkai Starrel, aka ZZZ.
Yeah.
So that's Zenless Zone Zero. So they're two games. If you love your gacha games, you love your Genshin Impact, you want Genshin Impact in space, you can get Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero coming in the near future, where they will gouge you for every penny, no doubt, that is in your wallet, but you'll probably get some cute characters and weapons off the back of it. I will play this. I will look at it and see what it's like when it comes out, because I really enjoy Genshin Impact, but look, more of the same, just in space.
Yeah, because space is scary.
Yeah, a lot of space theme. Like, I didn't really pick up on that until you mentioned it earlier. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of space games here.
I put it in the Discord. You just kind of went into our 8-bit Discord and you kind of asked what everyone's impressions were, and that's what I wrote. I just said, your game is like space. Because it's everywhere.
Your game is like Ninja Turtles. You don't need to wait long for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, because it's launching on June the 16th. The release date news comes alongside the info that Casey Jones will also be a playable character, and a new 6-player mode was also announced. So you and 5 others can jump in as the Turtles and Casey and April or Splinter and kick and punch and swing a sword and size and microphones till your heart's content. It looked so busy with 6 players on the screen though. Like, I wonder if it would be too much, because the character models are almost just like blending into one big pixely gloop, because there's so much shit going on. But I'm still keen to play this, and we confirmed that it's coming to Game Pass as well. Like,
I have enough issues in like Streets of Rage where I am clearly a just completely different character, yet I still think I'm the other character. So I can only imagine the difficulty I'm going to have when I'm playing as one turtle and there's like, well, technically there would only be 3 other ones, but still, it's going to be chaos. But maybe that good kind of chaos where everyone's yelling at each other.
I'm keen to give it a go and see how smooth that connection is. If there is potentially 6 people coming in from all around the globe to try and play, but I'm excited for it. And friend of the show, Dane Peavy, was chatting to us the other day, and he showcased some of the limited run games collector's editions you can get for this. And there's a $200 kit that comes with so many cool things. I'm like, ooh, do I want it? Yeah, but it's a little bit too spicy for me, so I'm gonna let that one go.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Pizza Hut deal.
Well, it comes with a Pizza Hut coupon in this limited run games as well. But tell us about the Pizza Hut deal.
That was it. That's what you were going to get excited about.
Oh, okay.
Pizza.
I'm hoping it means that Pizza Hut will bring back the Ninja Turtles themed pizzas here in Australia at least, because I like the pepperoni with the mutagen ranch sauce on the top.
Pass.
Delicious. We also got another trailer for One Piece. One Piece Odyssey is the game in question we're talking about, and didn't show a ton of gameplay, mostly just sort of interactions with certain characters from the manga or the anime. Okay, like, I enjoy One Piece. I'm not anywhere near up to date because this thing is eternal and goes forever, but I think it's really great, and from what I can see from fans of the series, the game looks good.
I was actually really impressed. It was like one of these things where I'm like, do I just play the game and not watch the anime? Like, it looks really good.
Maybe. Yeah,
I know I play games slow, but I still think I could finish this before watching the entire One Piece.
Yeah, it is eternal. It does not. It never ends.
Yeah.
The next one they showcased was actually the game you talked about earlier in what we've been doing, and we got a nice gameplay trailer for Metal Hellsinger. I don't think we need to jump into that. We talked about how great that was earlier in the piece.
Ali approved.
The next one, this one interested me. This was on my notes as far as I want to give this a go, and it's a game called Nightingale. So we got a longer, more detailed look at Aaron Flynn and Inflection's upcoming survival game. So the game itself is you acquire realm cards and you combine them to open up these Fey gates to go to different realms and alternate realities. And depending on the card combinations you sort of acquire and jewel out into this gate, you'll be met with various other atrocities or certain difficulty curves and craziness. And I like this Sliders-esque game in a fantasy world. Like, I'm intrigued. This is one of the games that stood out for me the last couple of days.
Yeah, I remember when this first got mentioned, and it did pique my interest because they describe it as like, survival building, and I also like the old timely kind of like the aesthetic of how your characters look and all the equipment that's being used. And there was the card element that kind of threw me off. I'm like, oh, don't tell me there's like this whole complex card thing that we apparently are really obsessing over in the past 2 years. A lot of card-based games, but
Cards in space.
Cards in space, yeah.
We got to get on this first. We got to make a space card game, and we'll take over the market with zombies.
But overall, I think I will still try and give this game a go because there's too many positives than there are negatives that I can see so far. So this one's definitely on the radar.
Graphically, it looked like Elder Scrolls. It reminded me very much of walking around worlds in Elder Scrolls, but then also being able to go through these gates to these different Fey realms and then build civilizations there, like build a house up or a community. I like that you could sort of be jumping through these gates to various establishments and little townships you're building all around the multiverse, I guess.
Yeah. Whatever they've established there, but I want to learn more about it because I still have some questions and curiosities about it, but I guess time will tell.
Definitely. Like if they can sort of take some nods from something like No Man's Sky, where you can jump into shared universes of friends and populate these unique realms.
Yeah, still.
I think that could be really cool. The next announcement we got, Saints Row Boss Factory. So Volition announced that there's a free app that lets you use the game's custom character creator to build your own main character before the game arrives. See, the game is coming out on the 23rd of August. We were talking about this offline. This is a positive step for you because you were a little bit worried that we were going to be limited into just playing as the character that I guess they announced with the trailer itself, where you were going to be playing. You thought we'll be playing like this boss woman, but now you can play your own imagining of the boss and make them as absolutely ludicrous and absurd as you'd like.
Yeah, the library of what people have already created is monstrosities. But I am looking forward to making my own character, so I don't know if I'll do that now or just wait until the game's release.
Are you going to try and make someone that looks as close to you as possible, or are you going to lean into the madness?
No, always got to look like myself. And then if I do a second run, then we kind of start getting creative.
Yeah, you gotta tip the old hat to Volition because the options and the customization that you can do on these characters is absolutely absurd in all the best kinds of ways.
Someone's made sexy Squidward.
Oh.
Yeah.
That just weirds me out in general, that whole sexy Squidward thing.
Me
But you know what?
too.
Power to them. Everyone's
Me
got their
too.
kinks. You want to have sex with an octopus? Go. No, don't go right ahead. That's really bad. Let's move on very
Squid.
swiftly here.
He's a squid.
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, why did I say octopus there?
I don't know.
Same, but different.
Let's carry on.
I'm sorry, mollusks. Warhammer Darktide. So Warhammer 40,000 Darktide got an extended gameplay trailer. I wrote for my notes with this as, how the hell is there so many Warhammer games in development? Like, there's 7 million different Warhammer games coming out. Like, I'm not sad about it. Like, it's a very deep universe with lots of stories and characters to tell, but holy hell, another Warhammer game?
There's a lot of them that have released where I really haven't given a damn. I played Vermintide.
Vermintide, yeah.
Vermintide, and that actually wasn't too bad. And then watching this trailer, it kind of looks fun. Like, I just want to grab like a team and just like, because it just looked like it was just hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes, and you just making a mess and just having chaos and destruction. And I think I kind of just enjoy that mindlessness. So I'm actually surprised that a Warhammer game got my attention.
It reminds me of the Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance game that came out a year and a half ago, maybe, where it was a squad-based game in the D&D universe where there was 4 characters available. You couldn't double them up. You had to, pick one of each. And that's what this is. There's 4 unique characters, different classes, different abilities, and you're going through this broader world. It looked interesting. It looked pretty violent and pretty hectic. Like that
Where was it
40k
set?
world is great. Yeah, space.
Set in space.
As is tradition. So it looks fun. It's more Warhammer if anyone's a fan of that world or likes big beefcakes shooting big guns or wielding chainsaw blades. This is the game for you. Jumping back into the horror. So Bloober Team has officially announced Layers of Fears, a psychedelic horror chronicle made in Unreal Engine 5 and coming to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X/S in early 2023. In my first notes, I wrote down, Jeff Keighley, you're an idiot, it's Layers of Fear, because he said it is Layers of Fears, and I'm like, that's not a thing. And then I realized, okay, it's a new thing. I'm sorry, Jeff. I retract that statement.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you did. Really pretty. And
Really
then we're
pretty.
obviously seeing them release it strictly on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. So they've done the whole, like, sorry guys, we're building this for the beefier engines, and we want to make something pretty. And from what we saw in the trailer, it was gorgeous. Like, it was scary, obviously, but like, it was gorgeous. It was very, very pretty. I'm curious what they're doing with the story as well. I know, like, I never played the first one. I watched a lot of playthroughs because it was interesting, but I'm also a chicken. So I'm curious what's happening with the story with this one.
Me too. Like, I've played the original Layers of Fear, and it is very heebie-jeebie stuff and can be very freaky and scary. So I'm wondering if they're going to reimagine the story, or if it's just going to be a retelling just with this Unreal Engine 5 coding over the top. I'm not sad about it because the game's been out a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And Bloober are just keeping very busy. Like, they're still attached to some Silent Hill stuff. They just did The Medium. They've got Layers of Fears on the way. They've got plenty of games and plenty of things in the works. So it's cool to see. And the fact that it's in early 2023 means we don't have to wait too long to play this game on whatever next-gen platform you'd like to play it on. And we can all get scared together.
True.
We got another gameplay video of Gotham Knights. This one focusing on Nightwing. My same thing, like just with Layers of Fears notes. I was writing my notes for this, and Nightwing, when they first showed him, he had a certain hairstyle, and then the next scene it was completely different. I'm like, hey, what's happened? Where's my Nightwing gone? Why's he got this buzz cut now? And then I realized, obviously, you can just customize your Nightwing to see fit. It was fine. I'm still lukewarm on Gotham Knights when it comes out later this year. I think the thing that still irks me the most is that it's only 2-player. You can't play 4-player squads. That's the part that really grinds my gears. Because a squad of 4, you got 4 unique characters. Bring them all
Literally
together,
4
god damn
characters.
it.
Yeah. I'm assuming it must be something to the way they traverse or something. I have no idea. Yeah. Gotham Knights has been one of those titles where I was hyped when I first heard it, and then I've kind of been on like a slope. Like, it hasn't gone all the way down of disinterest, but it's like it's just hitting this like kind of like you said, like a lukewarm kind of interest in it.
Would it hype you more up if it was set in space?
I mean, it seems to be a winning combination. They're fools for not putting it in space.
Yeah, but hopefully it can rebuild that momentum for at least us here on the show. I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that are super keen to jump back in and see what WB Games have been up to. It's got that Arkham flavor all over it, but just make it 4 players. Let us play as all 4 characters at one time. Like, maybe that's in a future like release or update, but
Maybe
it's just weird to me. Very missed opportunity, big missed opportunity there. And this sort of rounds out where Summer Game Fest came to a close, and obviously there was some discourse we'll talk about in the tweet of the week that came about from this too. But the big focal point for the closer of Summer Game Fest was all about The Last of Us, specifically The Last of Us Part 1. So they did talk about as well The Last of Us Part 2, 2-year anniversary from when that game came out. So there was some love for that. But they've officially announced the remake of The Last of Us Part 1, rebuilt from the ground up for the PlayStation 5. It's coming out on September the 2nd of this year. And then we also got the first official photo of the HBO's The Last of Us series with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey there, just looking at each other, hiding in the museum. Anyone that's played the game will know what that scene is referencing. And we had Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson come up on stage as well for this, doing a bit of a back and forth with Jeff Keighley, and it was a bit awkward with Jeff and obviously Neil Druckmann up there too. The back and forth with the 4 of them, it was a bit awkward, and Jeff kept interrupting them when they were trying to talk. It felt a few times. I'm like, Jeff, just shush, just let them say their piece.
I think the most awkward thing that actually came from it was like having Troy and Ashley there, who are, they are the voices, they are the basis of these, characters of a groundbreaking series. Like, you can't deny that their involvement obviously made it the game that it is, only for them to have to stand on stage for Druckmann to kind of just say, so we've used all their stuff and we're just using AI to make it impressive. We're using all the old audio, but then we're upping up the graphics. And I'm like, to me, that just says, like, we didn't need to use you guys again. We didn't have to call you in for this. We just used your old shit, so we didn't have to pay you. Like, that's, like, obviously there's probably more details there that I don't know about, but having them on stage, and he even kind of like looked at it and said, like, we didn't need to bring you guys in because we used AI and we kind of, took what we had and then we, placed it on top, and then we used the old audio. And like, I don't know, I reckon if I was sitting on stage, I'm like, you're telling me to my face that you did everything that you could not to call us in and, work on getting this remastered, but, or remade or whatever. But so that was the awkward thing for me, because he was just telling it to their faces, and I think I would get a little bit shirty on that. So but like, I mean, in saying that, seeing the comparisons, it was pretty impressive. I don't know if I would have noticed without comparisons too much, but having them, front and center, I was actually pretty impressed with how polished it looks from how it originally did.
It was smooth in the trailer how they were showcasing and having that slider where they were saying, here's the PS4 version, then sliding it across to what the PS5 remake's going to look like and vice versa, and seeing those textures and levels of detail increase or decrease depending on which way the slider was going. But yeah, but I'm with you, like, that whole final closing segment, it felt tense and cagey because obviously I guess we could just sort of weave it into this discussion and just go
Tweet of the week
into this piece as well. And what's happened was just, moments prior to Summer Game Fest really popping off, Nebellion on social media and then a whole host of the other sort of news breakers out there got confirmation and showed the box art that The Last of Us Part 1 remake had popped up on the official PlayStation Store as well. So this wasn't done like a stealth leak from some anonymous source. This was done by Sony directly, where this popped up an hour before Summer Game Fest, where this was going to be the big closing note, the big like boom, and it's coming out September the 2nd for PlayStation 5, and confirmed that it's coming to PC as well. So when Neil Druckmann got up there, he was very, very frustrated and was taking not very subtle shots. He was taking shots wherever he could to like, hey, so like we're working on these other things, Sony. Do you want to leak that too? And we got this coming. Do you want to leak that?
Yeah, even
he
Troy
was
made
pissed.
it too, yeah,
and I get it.
I get it too. Like having like something to work on and lead up, and being like obviously what was going to be a very pinnacle point of this, overall Games Fest, an hour before. The speculation is whoever like kind of was in charge of it was probably off by like some weird time difference, but either or, like people found out about it before, so we saw trailers, we saw screenshots, we saw everything before Games Fest even started. So overall, like I don't think it ruined it for me. We also learned about both Ashley and Troy are actually going to be in the series, not as their original characters, obviously, but they have said like they're not just like a quick glance and a wink at the camera. They're playing actual characters. So I'm glad that they got that out. But yeah, I mean, it must suck working towards something and then having it not only spoiled in general, but an hour
and
before.
spoiled by, I guess, your parents in a way,
yeah,
you could
exactly.
say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sort of took a bit of wind out of the sails there. But off the back end of that as well, Neil Druckmann said he's working on another game not Last of Us related. Didn't go into specifics. Subtle nod to we'll talk about it when Sony spoils it again or leaks that. And then the other part was we got some very brief discussion on the standalone multiplayer game, which, at first was going to be part of The Last of Us Part 2 when it was announced. Then it was going to come out later.
Yeah.
And it's coming out even later again. No shots or disrespect in that regard. But the game itself, from what Neil Druckmann was saying, is it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's now saying that the game universe itself is bigger than what is in The Last of Us Part 1 or Part 2. So this is going to be a standalone multiplayer game featuring a brand new cast of characters, and it looks like at least part of the game is going to be set in San Francisco. So different location, different characters, different story, and we're going to hear more about it in 2023. So we don't even know if it's going to be out in 2023, but we're going to hear more about it and I guess get that official trailer and maybe gameplay slice in 2023 at some stage. But yeah, it looks like this game just got out of control and they didn't realize how big it was going to be, and it's just led to a lot of delays.
Yeah, but it's going to do well regardless when it comes out. So everyone seems pretty hyped, and yeah, well, I guess if there's ever a time for me to return to Last of Us, I have an opportunity maybe. You
do. You don't have to wait too long at all. September the 2nd on PlayStation 5. But if you want to play it on PC, that will be coming at a later date as well. But Miss Hart, what's your overall feelings for Summer Game Fest? Like, do we want to try and put it on a grading scale? Is it a fine? Is it 8-bit approved? I don't know. Or do we go like, is it 1 through 10? How are we going to mark this thing?
I don't know. It's really hard because there were some spectacular titles and some wonderful trailers that we did see. But then there was just a lot of, like, in my personal opinion, for how I felt, a lot of things I just did not care about, a lot of fluff. And unfortunately, overall, how I felt the presentation is that they hit a high, they hit a few good titles, and then it kind of just started, like, going downhill and really losing my interest. At that case, I would say it would be a fine. But yeah, that's a struggling fine. Too much space, as I've said. I thought that was funny, that there was just some weird consistency that a lot of titles were set in space. But yeah, I want to say that I still love the set piece. I love this, like, immersive, like, screens and ground and backdrop, like, displays. I think that's still beautiful, so I hope it stays online because I think that's gorgeous. But yeah, overall, I was kind of it could be deemed almost forgettable.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, fine is probably as high as I'd give it. Like, I wouldn't say it was good to great. If that's the grading scale, if it goes fine, good, great, perfection or something, I don't know. We'll workshop that offline. But yeah, there was some really, really high points as far as some of the games that got a little bit more runtime or debuted, or we just got to see a little bit more under the hood. But then there was a lot of games that just weren't for me. They were probably for other people, and that's amazing. But it felt also too that maybe some of the things that weren't getting talked about due to delays, maybe they had some other big moments planned for it, but they had to slide due to crunch and COVID situations where maybe they had to move them off this showcase, and then they maybe had to pivot. A few of these games that got thrown in there, it felt like maybe they were last minute ads. They're like, what do you got made?
I didn't want to say that, but I agree.
Yeah, like, and they were still a bit undercooked. And I'm not disrespecting the people that are working on these. Don't hear me for what I'm not saying there. I'm just saying it felt like there was some pretty stark contrast with some of the games as far as a level of polish and readiness to present, and then others where they're like, holy shit, Mary Sue's sick. Can you fill in? And can you jump in here? And testament to everyone that did get showcased, that it's awesome. I love that they're all building these fantastic interactive pieces of media, but it was very night and day in some of the presentations and the announcements. So yeah, I'd say it's fine. The clear winners for me was definitely the Callisto Protocol, Routine, and then other ones like Nightingale. And then the Last of Us, even though it did get broken an hour before, I think some of the pieces that they did mention and showcase in there, I'm still pretty excited for it. So they were sort of the winners that I took away from it from my perspective.
Yeah, I'd be the same with you with Callisto Protocol. I was impressed with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I kind of got a little bit of interest peaked into American Arcadia, and obviously Metal Hellsinger. But there was a lot of things where I was kind of like, oh, but I don't know if I was completely fully sold on them. So I got to learn about some titles that I didn't know about, maybe wouldn't have known about without this, but overall, kind of yeah.
And that's it. And that's the best thing with these showcases is games will pop up that were not on your radar at all, that are now on your watch list, and you want to follow them along and see how they come to be closer to release date. But if you're not playing The Quarry this week and you're looking for other things to do, we got you covered.
New releases and events.
And the first one, as far as new podcasts coming out this week, obviously you're going to get a secondary showcase podcast recap coming out from us midweek, where we'll be covering off on all those other upcoming showcase. We're talking the 2 Xbox and Bethesda showcases, Capcom, Guerrilla Collective, and the PC Gaming Showcase. Also, Yencast First, I should say, is finally coming out on the 8-Crit RSS feed. So that is going to be the full season released day one, all there for you to consume. So get that in your ear holes. Any feedback you've got while you are listening is also appreciated. Be sure to hit us up and let me know what you think. Yencast First. As far as TV, new series debuting this week. We've got The Lake on Amazon, as well as Iron Chef, Quest for an Iron Legend on Netflix.
Sign us up.
I'm so down. I am so down. As far as new movies coming out this week to the cinemas, Men and Lightyear are making its way to the AU cinemas, and I'm assuming it's going to tie in across the world as far as the new horror movie there, Men, as well as the real life story of Lightyear.
Yeah, that one's so weird to me, Lightyear. But Men looks weird too, so.
It looks super weird, but it looks great. And as far as games coming out this week, once you have finished The Quarry and you don't feel like replaying it straight away, you can jump over and play Neon White on Switch and PC, Redout 2, Starship Troopers, Terran Command, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, all coming out this week. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the official end of THG 287. Anything else you want to shout out before we close this sucker down for a few days?
No, just I guess, you heard us kind of talk about what we like, what we don't like, what we didn't like, and everything like that. But just a full-on disclaimer, games are for everyone, but not every game's going to be for you. So, just enjoy, and we've got a lot more to follow up on next week.
Perfectly said. And if you wanted to join in on that discussion on our Discord, if you're listening to this podcast right now, obviously just check the show notes. There's a direct link there to get access to our Discord. So click on that link, come on in, and let us know your thoughts, your winners, your MVPs of these gaming showcase events, because we'd love to hear from you and just see what tickled your pickles and why, because we're always looking for new games to play and new games to discuss. But Miss Hart, that's the end of THG 287. I guess it's time to get on out of here. Listeners, if you're on the Epic Store, be sure to use the code 8bit as your creator of choice. But until next time, much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.